reason why a lot of us are hitting is because niggas don't read books. It's because black people, and I love you guys, but this is the truth. Black people are stuck on brands. Are black vampires and fantasy marketable? I'm going to get down to it, guys. If you've been around on Twitter long enough, you know that memes and sayings get recycled every single year. And this one particular meme I see every year for the past 3-ish years, right? Or rather, I'll see every 6 months. And this is how it reads. I want black vampires, black girls who stumble upon ancient relics and granted magical powers. I want black spies. I want black characters with diverse storylines. God damn it! Now, that meme and several other like it have been traveling around the internet since Black Panther So Lit. Probably even before that, honestly. However, this one particular moment, I'm just on Facebook, On Key Cosplay was the one that posted it. And then I saw her comment over top of it, and I followed a whole thread of arguments and conversation, and I just need to put my input. But before that, On Key said, in all caps, calling for more representation in mainstream doesn't negate the work of indie writers. The point is, we shouldn't have to search to find ourselves only in indie work. Now, if you've been on my channel, if you've been subscribed to me long enough, anybody who's new, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Are black vampires and black fantasy marketable? Back to the point. If you've been around long enough, I've championed that same sentiment. That same sentiment. As a matter of fact, I used to feel the same exact way the meme felt, but I do not anymore. Now, what I'm about to get into, I want One Key's fans, honestly, all black people to listen and listen closely. This is not directed at anybody. It's directed at all you niggas. At one point, I wanted all of that, especially in the comic book industry. When I was a child, I saw that there weren't that many black cool superheroes, right? This is before Static Shock, by the way. I saw that there weren't characters. I started creating characters. Why am I drawing black Dragon Ball Z characters when I could be making my own characters? That's what I thought, and it led me to writing Judgment Day. That's the book series, which is a trilogy, and it's finished now. But some people were like, you don't read. I said, oh, I'm going to make it into a comic book. What it was originally meant to be. It's a comic book now. 2 of them. AfroNominonStudios.com. Go cop it. It has everything in that meme, right? Except for like the stumbling upon powers type deal. It's definitely a coming of age, bromance almost type deal. A lot of action, a lot of adventure, a lot of comedy. It's black as fuck, and it's unapologetically black. That's really what we need. Now, when I realized that, I started writing stuff, and I got older, and I published my books. I published my comics. Well, I published my first book, and I realized that it wasn't selling anything. I sold maybe 30 copies first year. And next year, I secretly sold like 50, and like half of that went to Japan. I have no idea how I sold books in Japan. To this day, it mind boggles me as to how I sold 50 fucking books in Japan. I really feel like some English teacher was like, the English in this is bad. By the way, I use AAVE, so that's racist for them to do. English in this is bad. What we're going to do is we're going to buy this book, and we're going to buy this book, and we're going to correct all the English in it. That's the only thing I can conceptualize. Or 50 people in fucking Japan took a chance and liked that shit. It's fucking good. It's fucking fantastic. It's a great story. Anyway, what I'm getting at essentially is I saw that we needed something, and I created something. And I realized later, after I published my books, that there are a lot of me. There are a lot of me. It took until I was in high school to realize that things like The Count of Monte Cristo and Three Musketeers were all written by a black man, Alexander Dumas. And then later I learned about Octavia Butler, who's a black science fiction writer. And I wondered to myself, why come all of these black people are hidden? How come I didn't know about Octavia Butler? How come I didn't know about Alexander Dumas? And that's just a big gap. And I started looking and again finding more and more and more of us in this space where I saw as a child that we needed more superheroes. We needed more fantasy, black vampires, that type of deal. Blackula is dope and all. He was asking Dracula to fucking abandon the slave trade and help him banish the slave trade. And Dracula fucking kidnapped his wife and bit him and put him in a fucking casket. And ultimately, he ends up killing himself at the end because they killed his wife. They staked his wife at the end. The scream was hilarious. We got Blade eventually in movie form, but that wasn't enough. The reason why a lot of us are hidden is because don't read books. Prove me wrong. That was just to grab your fucking attention. We do read books. When I was growing up, just about every black girl and some black boys in my school was reading Harry Potter every single time it came out. When I grew up, when I got a little older, in high school, girls was stuck on Zane books. And while that's not fantasy, that's still reading, right? I got older, there are still people who copy Zane's style, make the most ratchetest shit in the world, and it sells. Oh my God. What else? The Twilight books was popular amongst black, specifically women for the most part. But that's fantasy. My mom loves Stephen King. I've watched from the time I was 14. I've never seen my dad read a book, I'm not even gonna lie. But my mother, who's a doctor, I watched her read books every day of her life. Black people read. So why is it? What's the real reason? Why aren't there more black centered fantasy stories, black fairies, black mermaids, especially when we got whole African pantheons that are emerging now that the internet connects everybody. We're learning more and more about African culture, African pantheons, African spirits, African gods, African spirituality. We're learning all about why isn't there more fantasy stories? Because that's how fantasy stories start, with myths. How aren't there more fantasies? And I looked and I realized it's because black people, and I love you guys, but this is the truth. Black people are stuck on brands. What do you mean by that? I will explain. What I mean by black people are fucking stuck on brands is we follow trends. In the black community, for consumers, we follow trends. We follow trends. When I was growing up, one person got the Harry Potter book and was like, oh, this is fun. And then everybody in the class had a Harry Potter book. There were boys who did not read that book who were just getting the books because the girls were getting it. Some of them actually were reading it though, because I watched. I myself did not read it. Why would I want to read that? But I watched us read it. Twilight, same fucking deal. Black Panther. Now, Black Panther been around for a very long time. And then when I saw Black Panther so lit, blow up the way that it did, I was like, hold the fuck up. And people were acting like there are no other black superheroes, right? And then I started researching black superheroes and realizing that 90% of those black superheroes are all created by white men. And they're all owned by white companies, big white companies. Hence, Black Panther, who's considered the first black superhero. By the way, he is not. He's the first mainstream black superhero, but he's not the first black superhero. First black superhero is actually Lion Man, created by Orrin Cromwell. And he was sabotaged because he had a black man punching a white man in his comic book. So he wasn't able to make any more comic books, and 20 years later, Black Panther came out. So we got Black Panther, and everybody's fucking ecstatic about it. We give Disney $1 billion fucking dollars. And during that whole campaign, I was telling black people, hey guys, you know that there are black comic books written by black people. You know? And that's around the time when memes like this surfaced, talking about what they want. Hey guys, you know that these exist. And I got so much fucking backlash. I got disrespected so many times. Black people saying, we do support. No, you don't. The reason why we don't get this is because black people support brands. They do not support their creators. They follow trends. They do not support what they need. No, manga is very big in the black community right now. And the most popular anime in the black community, I would think, right? At least when I was growing up, it was Dragon Ball. And then at some point, it became Naruto, and it looks like it's moving more towards One Piece, even though that shit got blackface in it. They know that it has blackface in it because every black artist who draws One Piece avoids Usopp's lips. You're watching that you're watching that. One of y'all need to tell Oda he need to fucking step the fuck up and correct those goddamn lips. Anyway, anime is big in the black community, even with people like Oda and Akira Toriyama disrespecting us with blackface. It's big in the black community, and we jump hard on it. We flock hard to it. It's because it's good, and it's because it's different, but I constantly hear, we want black anime, we want black manga. If you want black anime and black manga, you have to buy black. Naruto didn't just become popular for no reason, right? Naruto got released. It was a test. Like everything, it's a test. Oh, we're going to run this and see how people react. People reacted to it, and people wanted it, and it gained a big fan base. And because black people follow trends, like for example, if Naruto never got big, no black people would like that shit. It wouldn't be a cult classic. Black people wouldn't give a fuck about it. We follow trends. We follow behind the people who are saying this is dope. This is tight. We do that. We do that in everything we do. Fashion, music, every fucking thing we do. Because we are communicative people. So we want to be in community with each other. That's not a bad thing. But the problem is the people in your community that are creating for you, that are targeting you, are being ignored. Black people create for black people. Because they're definitely not creating for white people. The people you think black people, it doesn't matter how good a black artist or writer is, right? The ones who get big are the ones who are accepted by both black and white people. And we often see how that ends up. They're usually not unapologetically black. They're usually very inclusive and diversity and all that other stuff. And they always make sure that there's either the white characters and is really the main character and on the low, or they'll put like, oh, there's a interracial relationship, or there's always something in there that feels fake. I know I'm not the only one that feels it. It's like Storm and Wolverine being a couple feels fake. It feels fucking fake. It doesn't feel like it fits. But that's Marvel's character. White men own Storm. So her dating Wolverine and being in a polyamorous relationship with like 5 other different X-Men, not her, but Wolverine, because he's a slut. You get 5 different relationships. Point is, I have ADD, by the way, so this is why I ramble. The point is, if you want black vampires and stories and movies and animes and things of that nature in the mainstream, because movies and TV shows are mainstream. More people it's gonna reach more people than people who read books or people who like comics. So movies and TV shows, animes, animations, those things are mainstream. If you want those things in the mainstream, you have to support a black creator. You have to support someone who's writing black vampires, right? I'm saying support a black creator because we need more black creators, not just black characters in mainstream. Because when we focus on just having black characters in the mainstream, it leaves black writers out to dry. Because ultimately what's going to happen is when they see that we want more black characters and black driven stories, they're going to find a white person who does it. When the industry hears that you guys want black main characters, they're looking for the easiest way to make money. Hence, we get a black Ariel, right? It's whatever. She's a fish. I don't care, right? We get things where black characters are reskinned. Okay, anyway, this is such a fucking long rant. because I have so much to say about it. Black people, there's ways to get what we want. But if you ignore the people in your community, not only will you not get what you want, when you do get what you want, it's going to be milk chocolate. It's not dark chocolate. I hope you understand what I mean. And I know people, I like milk chocolate. Fuck that. It's not, it's going to be diluted. It's going to be Black Panther, where the Black Africans and the Black Americans are fighting each other. In the end, the hero is the white CIA guy. It's going to be stories while we supported it because we see black faces. You gotta understand, behind those black faces are white people. And that money, again, for Black Panther, $2 billion went to Disney. That's white people's money now. We worship brands. We follow brands. We follow trends. And as long as we keep doing that, we're never gonna get what we want. You have to support Black creators. Pretending like automatically, and let's get this straight. I'm going to address what One Key said. She said we shouldn't have to look for it in indie. It should just be available. Basically, you should be available for mainstream. When you say that, you're essentially begging white people. You're begging white people to accept us. I know it don't seem that way, but that's what it is. We need more black stuff in mainstream because you're only going to get it from white people. So you're begging them. You're begging for their acceptance of us. Because if you really wanted just black, you would find black people to get behind and rally for and buy their shit. Especially if it's good. My comic book is good. Shameless plug. But you cannot say it should be readily available in the mainstream if you're not willing to make something mainstream with your money. I do comic book reviews. I do them on YouTube. I do them on TikTok. My girlfriend does them. What's her name? Frankie does them. She does them. There are other people, but I'm going to point out Frankie does them. I do them. My girlfriend does them. And Brian Covington does them. Also go buy his comic book, Before Magic and Dreams. And he has a novel series. It's fucking good. Atlanta gets taken over by magical creatures. Fucking buy it. Imagine the main character is Keith Lee. And the bad guys are the restaurant owners. Something. Goddamn. But we as a people are so fucking stuck up in just following trends and brands. Why can't we be like we are in music? We created all the popular music there is right the fuck now. All of it. Bad Bunny would not be anybody without us. I know people are going to be mad about that shit. Who else? Burna Boy would not be anybody without us. What do you call it? Afrobeats was a completely different thing. And if you know the history, it's a completely different type of music form. And they just, there's a whole thing about it. But if you look at Afrobeats when it started popping off, those dudes was just imitating black culture and doing it with their own style, with their own music. That's us. Hip hop. It touched the entire fucking world. Rock and roll touched the entire fucking world. We need to get behind our artists and stop expecting white people to do it. Because that's ultimately what you're doing. Oh my God, it should be mainstream. In order for something to be mainstream, white people have to see value in it. And if black people don't see a value in it, white people don't give a fuck. I saw somebody in her comments talk about how Tyler Perry did what he did by himself. Yeah, he did do what he did by himself, but he was hood famous for like 6-7 years before white people found him. He was black famous for a very long time because black people was buying his DVDs. He went to the very easiest demographic there is to sell to when it comes to that type of stuff, that medium, black church ladies. Black, wholesome church ladies who got a ghetto side. Black women. I guess that maybe I should be selling my comic book to black women. I have very positive black women representation in my comic book, by the way. Yes, buy it, afronomenonstudio.com. Again, Hollywood had to see a Medea as valuable before they decided to put any money into it. You gotta understand, he was hood famous with us. He was famous with us. He made a lot of that money off of us. And then they found him, and then he blew up worldwide. Then Medea became an American thing, not just a black American thing. It's still really a black American thing, but you get the drift. The same thing with hip hop. Hip hop is still a black American thing, even though white people do it. You know, Little Pumps and all the other Post Malones in the world, right? I really hope, if you made it this long, thank you. Look, in order to get what you want, you have to put your money where your mouth is. Saying you want the black vampires, black fairies, black princesses, black superheroes, you have to buy from black creators. Don't just stop at the poster. Don't just stop at getting people in front of the cameras. Think about people behind the cameras. Black Panther was good at that. But who was behind everybody behind the cameras in the writers? White ass Disney, who got $2 billion from us. Imagine 10% of that money going to one black creator. Not even one black creator. 10% of that money going to a community of black comic book writers. You wouldn't have to wait. You wouldn't have to cry about T'Challa not being recast by Disney. Disney would have to recast T'Challa because they would have been having to compete with so many other companies buying up these black properties to make black superhero films with black males at the lead. That's for the people who are pissed off about T'Challa not being there. Yeah, T'Challa is important, but he wouldn't be as important if we already had that representation. If that representation is already in your face constantly, it doesn't hurt as much. And we can do it. We got to look after each other. We have to build the Negro Leagues. If you gotta be the Negro Leagues, be the Negro Leagues. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Several Negro Leagues teams were better than the MLB. They felt threatened, so they started adding black people. It wasn't out of the kindness of their own hearts. It's because they saw that the Negro Leagues had the potential to grow bigger and better than the MLB. Be the Negro Leagues, my niggas. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm a piece of shit. Tell me how much I attacked a black woman. I'm not really talking just to one key. I'm talking to all black people who just don't seem to get it. Here's the thing. A lot of us are consumers. We just consume. A lot of us are not going to think about what we're consuming. But we have to be a people who think about what we're consuming. We have to be. Otherwise, what ends up happening is black creators get left out in the dark. And you're essentially expecting, you're expecting white people. When you want black creators in the mainstream, you're essentially expecting white people to also like us. Now, there are white people who are just like us, who follow brands. That's not that much different from us. Problem is they have more people than us, at least in the United States of America. And they have more money than us, at least in the United States of America. So they have more people who are willing to venture outside, who have more people who are willing to take more chances. They have more people in general that will buy and make famous of their creators. They have more. We cannot act like them with our money. We have to be with us with our money. We have to love us. And unfortunately, when you ask for black creators, black creations to be mainstreamed, I know that sounds crazy. When you ask for our shit to be mainstreamed, you're asking the same people who review bomb films for not centering on white men to like black creators. That's who you asking to us to like us, because otherwise we would be black. We would just be black famous. That's who you're asking for, to love black creations when you want black mainstream. The only way we get anywhere is with us. If you want those things, you will put your money where your mouth is. Some of those white folk are going to see it and be like, oh my God, I like that shit, and they're going to like it. But what needs to happen first is there needs to be 100,000 black people who like that black novel, black comic book, black creation, black story. That's what needs to happen. The same thing happened with Raising Dion. Black people were fucking ecstatic about Raising Dion. It wasn't a comic book first. Somebody made it into a short, small film show type deal. And then Netflix picked it up and turned it into a series. I think it's a comic book now. Black people, showing that to black people made that big. And then white people jumped on. That's how it happens. That's the only way it happens. Only way. Expecting black creations and black creators and black characters and black vampires and black fairies and black mermaids to be mainstream, expecting them to be mainstream without the groundwork don't work. Support black creators, point blank. Otherwise, you don't get what you want. I love you, black people. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. This was a long ass video. And if anybody made it this long, thank you. Leave booty butt cheeks in the comments if you made it this long. I love y'all. I love y'all, especially these new subscribers. We just got 300 subscribers and we're ecstatic about it. For me, that's better accomplishment than 30,000 on TikTok. Because TikTok, for whatever reason, doesn't show my 30,000 followers my videos. They'll show like 300 people and then quit on it. And then the video doesn't go anywhere. At least with YouTube, I know if the video is trash. Because I done some really good videos that blew up or did well here on YouTube and did bad on TikTok. And they're the same exact video. And they're just, anyway, it doesn't matter. Thank y'all for subscribing. I appreciate that. Don't share a video. Talk to your friends about this. You know, if you decide to buy a black comic book, become a fan. Don't just buy it, read it. Be a fan, ask questions. That gives us more content to talk about it. And when we talk about it, it gets more people interested and it gets the ball rolling down the hill. It's not, you have to be a fan. It's the same thing with like Naruto and all. I'm going back on another rant. It's the same thing with all these Narutos and all these animes. They put it out, somebody liked it. It grew a fan base, people talking about it, people constantly want to see it. And because that happened, it blew up. One Piece blew up. Naruto, Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Attack on Titan. All of the popular animes and stuff. That's how it starts. There has to be groundwork. And I know so many black creators who put so much money into their projects, but the problem is they don't have an equal amount of money of marketing money to market. You can market for free on TikTok, but it doesn't mean it's going to get anywhere. I've done so many videos on my stuff on TikTok. I've gotten more interest on YouTube in the last 6 months than I got on TikTok. I've had more sales on TikTok, but I also wasn't really trying on YouTube. But anyway, what I do now is I make content for YouTube and I take clips from my videos here and put them on TikTok and hope for the best. But yeah, I'm really gone now. No more rants. Support black creators. It's do or die. Be the Negro Leagues.
The bamboo earrings, baby.